Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex or Nuznuz, and welcome to another video. Now today's video is for entertainment purposes, and it's going to try to answer the question, are minigames dead in RuneScape 3? I will be taking a look at minigames in their current form in RuneScape 3, and I'll be looking at some minigame rewards currently, and also take you back to how minigames were in a much simpler time, and look at them in old school RuneScape as well. So make sure to like the video if you find this topic interesting, and let's get right into it. So looking back in RuneScape history, minigames have always played a prominent role in RuneScape, whether it was for fun and hanging out with friends or for upgrading your items and equipment. And if we look back to pre-EOC, back to the year 2007, minigames like Barbarian Assault were extremely popular, mostly because of the fact that you could get really good items like the Fighter Torso, which at the time was one of the best melee equipment pieces that you could get. For one, it was free if you put in a little time and effort compared to spending a huge amount at the time for something like the Bandos chestplate, and the Fighter Torso also offered the best in slot strength bonus just like the Bandos chestplate. And if we look at something like the Warriors Guild, which is debatable if it's a minigame, but it's still comparable, and you would do it solo of course, and you would get something like Defenders, and in old school RuneScape these are a very popular item from doing the Warrior Guild minigames and are used in scenarios like PVM very commonly and also PvP. These are both things that are very lacking when it comes to any minigames in RuneScape 3. Now back in those days, minigames were a huge way to get best in slot or super high tier gear upgrades. It would be kind of the equivalent of getting something like tier 90 armor from a minigame now in RuneScape 3, or like a really good prayer from a minigame. They were that good. Pest Control was another place that you could get a huge upgrade in the past in Void Knight armor, and you still can in old school RuneScape, as the armor is still one of the best in slots at a lot of bosses, including some of the endgame ones, I believe at Vorkath, Theater of Blood, places like that, and these aren't, low level bosses, these are high level PVM scenarios. This meant that in old school OSRS, you could do minigames for stuff like Void Armor, Fighter Torso, Dragon Defender, and these items could be key parts of your gear and basically make up a majority of your gear. Now right now, since I have full Elite Void on my old school RuneScape account that I grinded for, I can hop on, buy myself a weapon, and be able to do a lot of PVM content pretty viably. Whereas in RuneScape 3, minigame rewards just aren't like they used to be. This is definitely an area that I feel like can be upgraded or fine-tuned and made more relevant in RuneScape 3. Of course, it's nice to be able to buy big gear upgrades with money, but the grind of going and doing a minigame with a bunch of people like Pest Control or taking on Barbarian Assault to get best in slot upgrades is seriously one of my favorite and most rewarding grinds, and the reason why I was attracted to playing old school RuneScape in the past. Think about this. Imagine on RuneScape 3 a new minigame comes out, and in that minigame is a really good new ability or a really good new piece of gear. Everyone in the community goes and plays it when it comes out, plays it together, everyone has a fun time, and it kind of gets the community just having fun together, and it's something that I really miss. You kind of get that with bosses, like when Raksha was released, a lot of people go together and do that, but you really don't get that in any minigame or skilling updates as much, and I think it's something that they could really do to make minigames more relevant and just make the community come together and have a good time as a whole. I really would like to see a minigame based update and have Jagex actually put real, viable, good rewards in them. Now, it goes the same way with things like achievement diaries and stuff like that in old school RuneScape. I just love the idea of upgrading and getting useful items through minigames. Something like Nightmare Zone as well is another good example on old school that is an example of best in slot rings being imbued. The list goes on, and Jagex, like I said, should really start adding things like this to revive minigames. And yeah, I just want to see minigames be more relevant in today's game. But are minigames in RuneScape 3 completely irrelevant? Well, let's take a look. Although minigames in RuneScape 3 do not have the huge account-changing rewards like they do in Old School, they still have some decent ones, and I'm going to talk about them now. So looking at some more recently released minigames in RuneScape 3, we have Shattered Worlds. Now, Shattered Worlds was released in May of 2017 and is a minigame where you go through various corrupted worlds occupied by the Abyss, and you kill monsters and cleanse the worlds, moving further and deeper into the Abyss and gaining various buffs and upgrades on your way through while you earn Shattered Anima. With this Shattered Anima, you can buy a variety of rewards, the most notable being the Bladed Dive ability. This ability is a melee ability that allows you to leap towards your specified location and deal damage to the nearby enemies. Now, this is a great utility ability for moving around boss encounters faster, and it's really just a good ability to get unlocked. I like this reward from a minigame standpoint, even though the minigame is solo only, so you do unlock that ability, but you don't really get any community interaction, but it is a pretty useful ability, even if it's just kind of a utility ability and not something that, is part of your core gear or damage rotations. So another minigame I want to talk about is the Cabbage Face Punch Bonanza. It was released in April of 2014, and it's one of your classic RuneScape minigames. I've honestly always loved Cabbage Face Punch Bonanza, and it's basically a game where you're running through the arena, gathering cabbage trophies, killing monkeys, trying to avoid gorillas killing you, avoiding flames, and if you're killed, you turn into a gorilla, and you can attack and kill other players. It really, in a way, reminded me a bit of Stealing Creation back in the day, but sadly the rewards are just so niche that you rarely get any players, maybe 2 to 3 on the maximum in a game at once. I feel like this is sad because something like this minigame is actually really fun, but the rewards just aren't good enough to have people dying to grind it out. Slayer VIP tickets are a decent reward that the game gives, and it gives you 2 options when choosing a Slayer task, but sadly these are obtainable through various other methods such as the Raptor's chest, the Traveling Merchant shop, killing the giant mimic, and doing the Rush of Blood challenge, and also through Thaler. Now, speaking of Thaler, this brings us to the Turler System. Jagex implemented a Turler system in 2015, and it basically allows you to earn Turler currency while playing minigames, and it basically combined all of the minigame rewards into one central shop. So Turler can be earned by playing any of the selected 13 minigames, and it's rewarded at a rate of 1 Turler per 5 minutes spent playing. And one minigame is spotlighted during each 3 days to earn extra Turler. Like I said, it cycles every 3 days. This means I could go and play like Barbarian Assault, and then I could use my Turler I earned to buy Void Knight equipment. This was meant as a way to make it more rewarding for playing your favorite minigames. However, when the rewards for the minigames are just so lackluster and not relevant in today's game, it didn't really end up reviving minigames all that much. I decided to go test things out by looking at a currently spotlighted minigame, which today is Soul Wars. Now, I went to the Soul Wars arena in RuneScape 3, I went to the minigame spotlight world specifically, and not a single soul was there. I decided to sit and wait in the queue because I know sometimes they put everyone into a queue, even in separate worlds for minigames, and I waited and waited and waited and waited even more, and I couldn't find a game after even 15 minutes, and I just gave up. So where does this leave us in terms of minigames on RuneScape 3? Well, to say they are completely dead may be a bit much, but minigames are considerably less and less worth it to do than in the past. Sure, you have things like Dread Nips from Dominion Tower and Bladed Dive from Shattered Worlds, but the days of minigames rewarding core upgrades and items, and also hosting a huge amount of community interaction is long over. I really think Jagex should think about adding minigames that can bring the community together and house rewards for PVM and reinvigorate that community fun that we all know and love. Let me know in the comments below what you think Jagex Jagex should do about minigames in RuneScape 3, and what is your favorite minigame in RuneScape history? Thanks for watching, guys, and make sure to subscribe for more content like this and like the video to help get it out there, you know, the algorithm, all that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.